Hello, and welcome to the 2012 Monterey County Poetry Out Loud County Championships. My name is Garland Thompson. I am the Arts Council for Monterey County's Poetry Out Loud Coordinator, and it is an absolute pleasure to see you all and be here with you today. Let me tell you first briefly what Poetry Out Loud is. Poetry Out Loud is a program that was originally started by Dana Gioia, a well-known poet and former chief of the National Endowment of the Arts. He started this program in order to bring poetry back into students' lives. He remembered when he was a child how much his mother used to read him poetry, how much she loved it, and how much of a love of poetry he gained from those wonderful times with his mother. When he became an adult and he got into government and he was heading up the National Endowment for the Arts, poetry, as he is a poet, poetry was very much on his mind. He remembered those times with his mother, and he wanted to find a way to bring those kinds of moments to students everywhere. So he created Poetry Out Loud. It is a national recitation program. And what that means is students pick poems from a list of about 600 or so poems that the National Endowment of the Arts has compiled, both in an online anthology and a printed anthology. They pick poems. These poems run the gamut. They are by poets everywhere from Shakespeare on up to present-day poets like Yusef Komunyaka, Martin Espada, Jimmy Santiago Baca, and others. The students pick from this list of poems. They then take those poems, and through a series of lessons and classroom exercises and contests, they study the poems, they analyze them, they memorize them, they learn how to perform them, they learn what the poems are about. And in the process, they also learn about the poets, where the poet was coming from, and they also gain valuable skills as public speakers. They gain valuable skills in being able to analyze a piece of work to determine what is the meaning of that work and what is the best way to present that meaning to others. It is a wonderful program, and it starts at the classroom level. The students will work with teachers. They have lesson plans already pre-prepared for them by the National Endowment of the Arts. These lessons can take less than half a period class time, and it can be done in about 2.5 weeks, so it really is not a huge load necessarily on the teachers or the students. It was designed to be able to fit into students and teachers and schools' curriculums very easily and very simply. They then have competitions starting in the classroom. Students will compete in the class. They will determine a school champion. Then from there, schools will compete each other at the county level to then determine a county champion. The county champion will then go to Sacramento in March to compete against all the other California county champions to determine who will be the California state champion that will represent California in the national competition, which will be held in Washington, D.C. in April. This champion, the California state champion, will be going up against 49 other champions. Each state will be sending their own champion. At stake, $20,000 in cash prizes and college scholarship money, as well as prizes, cash prizes, and literary prizes, books of poetry for the schools all along the way. It is a magnificent program, and I stand here very honored and very humbled by the opportunity I have to be the man that gets to introduce this program to you and bring it to this county. We have a panel of 3 judges. We have an accuracy judge, and we also have a teleprompter. The 3 judges that we have today are very distinguished people in the community. We have Miss Enid Baxter Blader. She currently holds the position of Department Chair at the CSUMB Teledramatic Arts and Technology Department, and this is only one of her talents. She's also a painter, a musician, a writer, and a conceptual artist. Currently, she's working on an experimental film documentary, Planet Ord, which explores the largest abandoned military base in the West. Enid Baxter Blader is one of our judges. We also have Mr. Ellison Farrell, and we are very pleased to have him. Ellison grew up with poetry being an integral part of his household. Both his father and his mother, and then later on Ellison himself, worked closely with the Wisconsin Arts Council and the National Federation of State Poetry Societies, which is the largest international poetry organization. He is a former college English teacher who brought his literature and communication skills to thousands of students every week. He has since retired from his teaching career and taken up a career managing talent in Hollywood, where he has been involved with many television shows over the years, not the least of which were The Waltons, Kojak, and Hill Street Blues. We're very pleased to have Mr. Farrell here with us. Thank you, Ellison. We also have Kim Murdoch. Kim has received her bachelor's degree in English and theater from Cal State Stanislaus. She also, Cal State Stanislaus, is that right? She has also worked professionally as an actress on stage and in Hollywood. As well as scripted roles on television, she's worked extensively in improv, which she describes as the most fun she's ever had. A very able-bodied and talented judge, Miss Kim Murdoch. Thank you very much. And even though she doesn't like to be in the spotlight, I have to acknowledge, of course, our accuracy judge and our teleprompter and our coordinator with the Arts Council for Monterey, Miss Dana Goforth, who is a fantastic artist in her own right, and I'm thrilled to have her here. Now, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge a couple of our sponsors. One of our biggest sponsors this year, sponsor we're very thrilled and happy to have, AMP Media. These are the lovely studios we're standing in right now, the AMP studios here on Garden Road. AMP Media is the local access Monterey Peninsula studios. It is public access television. It is open to anyone in the community to come and use equipment, use the studios, put on your own television show, however you want to use the studios. If you'd like to do a music video, you can come to AMP Media and do that. And it's all for free. This is a wonderful thing, and we're very happy to have AMP Media. Thank you, AMP Media. We also have a sponsor that we want to acknowledge, and we're also thrilled to have them, Youth Music Monterey. As headed up by Miss Venetia Evans, Youth Music Monterey is a wonderful program that inspires students and allows students to grow musically in the area predominantly of classical music, which is an area that students don't necessarily get asked to go into that often. It is a magnificent program. They produce magnificent artists, and we are very pleased to have today, the Sea Otter Quartet, who will be performing various classical selections in between the poets performing while the judges are scoring. And we are very thrilled to have them. Thank you to the Sea Otter Quartet. I'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge some of the most important people when it comes to Poetry Out Loud. And of course, by that, I mean the teachers. Without the teachers, this program would go nowhere. Without the teachers who can see the value of the process that the students will go through in order to attempt this contest, without the teachers to see that and to understand how much that can bring to the lives of their students, then Poetry Out Loud goes nowhere. The teachers are very key. They see the possibilities, they see the opportunities, and they feel the call and answer the call to bring those opportunities to their students. So we'd like to take a moment to acknowledge our two wonderful teachers, Mr. Larry Hagquist, Professor Hagquist, who is the chair of the English department at Pacific Grove High School, and Mr. Simon Hunt, who is an English teacher at Santa Catalina School. They are our two competing schools, Pacific Grove High School and Santa Catalina School, and both of these teachers, both of these gentlemen, saw instantly, when they found out about the program, the value and the joy that could be brought to their students. And so they took it upon themselves. They brought in the materials. They brought it to their entire school. They had all of their students go through it, and they boiled it down to one performer, one poet, one champion to represent their school today in the county championship. So I would definitely like to take a moment to acknowledge Professor Larry Hagquist and Mr. Simon Hunt. Please give them a round of applause. Also visiting us today is another what we like to call dignitaries, certainly for our family here in Poetry Out Loud, and that would be last year's Monterey County and California State Poetry Out Loud champion, 2011, former senior at Pacific Grove High School. He is now a student at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and we are very thrilled to have him. We'd like to acknowledge him. That would be, of course, Mr. Robert Marchand. Give him a hand, please. I do want to say also something. I would like to say something also about the schools that are participating. First off, Pacific Grove High School. As I mentioned earlier, Larry saw the value of the program when I brought it to him. He jumped on the bandwagon immediately, and for the last 3 years, Pacific Grove High School has sent the Monterey County champion to the state championships in Sacramento. The last 2 years in a row, we have taken that championship, that state championship. So 2 years in a row, a Pacific Grove High School student has won the California State Championship and received a free trip to Washington, D.C. to compete in the national competition. So it is incredibly wonderful what Larry and what Pacific Grove High School did, and also the faculty and the staff and the management, the principal and the assistant principal and everybody over at Pacific Grove High School. They embraced the program fully. They all saw the value of it, and they went for it wholeheartedly, and we've had some incredible success and a lot of fun on the way. So that's a wonderful school. Santa Catalina School, really thrilled to have them here. This is their first time participating in it. I'm not exactly sure how Simon found out about us, but I'm very glad that he did. And he got in touch with me and the Arts Council, and he brought Santa Catalina School in, and it was truly amazing. I attended a number of their work sessions. I also attended their finals, and it was truly a wonderful sight to behold, to see all of his students putting in such wonderful effort and such hard work, and then to see other students supporting those kids, supporting those friends. At the final, the entire, it must seat about 500 or 600 people in their Performing Arts Center at Santa Catalina School. There pretty much was not an empty seat in the house. It was pretty much a packed room, and it was wonderful. It was an incredible sight to behold, something I will never, ever forget. Thank you very much, Simon. Santa Catalina School deserves a great round of applause. So those are our two schools. That's how the program works. Those are our teachers. That's our last year's champion. You know who I am. I believe now it is time to move on to our performers. What we decided to do this year is to bring up our runners-up first and allow them a chance to do their poems. They worked incredibly hard, and as the runner-up, they also may have the opportunity to go on to the state championships should the county winner, for some reason or other, not be able to make it. So the runner-up does indeed hold a very special place for us. They also deserve to be acknowledged for their wonderful work, because they worked quite hard. And even though there can only be one champion, they're all champions. So with that, I'd like to introduce to you Miss Lila Mahmood. She is age 17. She is the runner-up at Pacific Grove High School. She is a junior at the school. Her hobbies include swimming and reading. Lila has always admired the art of recitation, and she could not pass up an opportunity to participate in Poetry Out Loud. Quote, to share great poetry with an audience that hungers for it, as well as appreciates it, thrills me. Please welcome Miss Lila Mahmood.
Hello, my name is Lila Mahmood, and I will be performing The Room by Conrad Aiken. Through that window, all else being extinct except itself and me, I saw the struggle of darkness against darkness. Within the room it turned and turned, dived downwards. Then I saw how order might, if chaos wished, become, and saw the darkness crush upon itself, contracting powerfully. It was as if it killed itself, slowly and with much pain, pain. The scene was pain and nothing but pain. What else? When chaos draws all forces inward to shape a single leaf. For that leaf came, alone and shining in the empty room. After a while, a twig shot downward from it, and from the twig a bough, and then the trunk, massive and coarse. And last, the one black root. The black root cracked the walls, boughs burst the window, the great tree took possession. Tree of trees, remember when time comes how chaos died to shape the shining leaf. Then turn, have courage, wrap arms and roots together, be convulsed with grief, and bring back chaos out of shape. I will be watching then as I watch now. I will praise darkness now, and then the leaf. Thank you.
Pacific Grove High Junior, Lila Mahmood. Thank you, Lila. Now that we've got warmed up, let's have, I believe it is time now for our second runner-up. And that would be from Santa Catalina School, Mary Cho. In Mary's own words, she is age 16. She enjoys memorizing. Let me start that again. I enjoy memorizing, reciting poetry, and thought it would be good practice to hone my public speaking skills. Also, watching one of the previous champions recite a poem about Frederick Douglass showed the vivacity a poem can have. I wondered if I could do that, and was excited by the possibility. When Mary isn't reciting poetry, she knits, she gardens, and she plays and listens to music with Hermes, her golden retriever. Please welcome to the stage, Mary Cho.
Ecology by Jack Collum. Surrounded by bone, surrounded by cells, by rings of hell, by hair. Surrounded by air is a thing, surrounded by silhouette, by honey-wet bees, yet by skeletons of trees. Surrounded by actual, yes, for practical purposes, people, surrounded by surreal popcorn, surrounded by the reborn. Surrender in the center to surroundings. Oh, surrender forever. Never enter. Let it blend around. Surrender to the surroundings that surround, the tender endo-surrender that tumble through the tumbling to that blue that curls around the crumbling. To that. The blue that rumbles under the sun, bounding the pearl that we walk on, talk on. We can chalk that up to experience, sensing the brown here, that's blue now. A drop of water surrounding a cow that's black and white. The warbling blackburnian twitter that's machining midnight orange in the light that's glittering in the light green visible wind. That's the ticket to the tunnel through the thicket that's a cricket's funnel of music to correct and pick it out from under the wing that whirls up, over, and out.
Mary Cho from Santa Catalina School. Thank you, ladies. It's a pleasure to hear from you. And now, the moment has come, ladies and gentlemen, where the competition officially begins. From this moment on, until the end of the program, the suspense will rise and rise until that fateful moment when our champion is declared. Let me tell you about our first competitor. From Pacific Grove High School, she is age 16. Arwa Awan is fascinated by history. She enjoys analyzing past events in order to better comprehend the current situation of the world. She reads constantly. Some of her favorite books include The Things They Carried, The Proud Tower, and Born on the 4th of July. Arwa entered Poetry Out Loud because she wanted to be a part of this challenging and successful program. Please welcome Miss Arwa Awan.
Hello, my name is Arwa Awan, and I will be reciting It Was Not Death, For I Stood Up by Emily Dickinson. It was not death, for I stood up, and all the dead lie down. It was not night, for all the bells put out their tongues for noon. It was not frost, for on my flesh I felt Shirako's crawl. Nor fire, for just my marble feet could keep a chancel cool. And yet it tasted like them all. The figures I have seen, set orderly for burial, reminded me of mine, as if my life were shaven and fitted to a frame, and could not breathe without a key, and 'twas like midnight. Some, when everything that ticked has stopped, and space stares all around, or grisly frost's first autumn morns repeal the beating ground. But most like chaos, stopless, cool, without a chance or spar or even a report of land to justify despair. Thank you.
From Pacific Grove High School, Miss Arwa Awan. The judges will now score, and then we will tabulate their score. And while that is happening, while we're waiting for the scoring to happen, I'd like to take a moment now to introduce to you, very thrilled to have them, the Sea Otter Quartet. Ladies and gentlemen. time to bring up our next competitor. Chloe Ryman, age 16, Santa Catalina School. In Chloe's words, I have always had a passion for reciting poetry. I love being in the moment to deliver a poem that will make people think and feel. I'm grateful for the opportunity to express this passion through Poetry Out Loud and to spread my poetry appreciation to others. In addition to poetry, Chloe is also passionate about art and dance. Please welcome Miss Chloe Ryman.
Spring and Fall by Gerard Manley Hopkins. To a young child. Margaret, are you grieving over Golden Grove unleaving? Leaves like the things of man, you with your fresh thoughts care for, can you? Ah, as the heart grows older, it will come to such sights colder, by and by, nor spare a sigh, though worlds of one would leave me a lie. And yet you will weep and know why. Now no matter, child, the name, sorrow's springs are the same, nor mouth had, no nor mind expressed, what heart heard of, ghosts guessed. It is the blight man was born for. It is Margaret you mourn for.
Chloe Ryman, Santa Catalina School. While the judges are scoring, we will now once again have another musical interlude, our second of the day, and boy, are we lucky to have it. Please welcome once again the Sea Otter Quartet. The Sea Otter Quartet. The students are judged on various criteria: physical presence, voice and articulation, dramatic appropriateness, level of difficulty, evidence of understanding, and overall performance. They are also judged on the accuracy of their recital. In other words, if a student adds an or an and to the poem, they will receive a point deduction. Accuracy is incredibly important, so that's why we have an accuracy judge. Time now for our second recitation. Each of the students has to pick 2 poems and submit them prior to the competition. That way, the accuracy judge and the judges are aware of their work and can appropriately prepare to score them. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring up now our Pacific Grove High School champion one more time for her second recitation of the day. Please welcome once again Miss Arwa Awan.
Hello again. My name is Arwa Awan, and I will be reciting The Meaning of the Shovel by Martin Espada. Barrio Rene Cisneros, Managua, Nicaragua, June through July 1982. This was the dictator's land before the revolution. Now, the dictator is exiled to Necropolis. His army brooding in camps on the border, and the congregation of the landless stipples the earth with 1,000 shacks. Every weather-beaten carpenter planting a fistful of nails. Here, I dig latrines. I dig because last week I saw a funeral in the streets of Managua. The coffin, swaddled in a red and black flag, hoisted by a procession, so silent that even their feet seemed to leave no sound on the gravel. He was 18 with the Border Patrol when a sharpshooter from the dictator's army took aim at the back of his head. I dig because yesterday I saw 4 walls of photographs. The faces of volunteers in high school uniforms who taught campesinos to read, bringing an alphabet sandwiched in notebooks to places where the mist never rises from the trees. All dead by malaria, or the greedy river, or the dictator's army swarming the illiterate villages like a sky full of corn-plundering birds. I dig because today in this barrio without plumbing, I saw a woman wearing a yellow dress climb into a barrel of water to wash herself in the dress at the same time. Her cupped hands spilling. I dig because today I stopped digging to drink an orange soda in a country with no glass, the boy kept the treasured bottle and poured the liquid into a plastic bag full of ice, then poked a hole with a straw. I dig, because today my shovel struck a clay bowl centuries old, the art of ancient fingers, moist with this same earth. Perfect, but for one crack in the lip. I dig, because I've hauled garbage and pumped gas and cut paper and sold encyclopedias door to door. I dig, digging until the passport in my back pocket saturates with dirt, because here I work for nothing. And for everything. Thank you.
Arwa Awan. I'd like to take a moment now to introduce our very talented musicians with the Sea Otter Quartet. Have you been enjoying them out there? I thought so. On cello, we have Bryn Daly. Please, feel free. On violin, Oliver Lawrence. Also on violin, Matthew Paget. And following up on violin, Jonathan Vu. And also, I'd like to introduce their chamber coach. Every quartet needs a good chamber coach, Miss Rosemarie Dunsford. They will now perform for you Quartetino in C Major by Pleyel. The Sea Otter Quartet, once again, Bryn Daly on cello, Oliver Lawrence, Matthew Paget, and Jonathan Vu on violin. Thank you very much. And now it is time to hear from our second competitor, her final poem of the round. Please welcome once again from Santa Catalina School, Miss Chloe Ryman.
The River Merchant's Wife, a Letter, by Ezra Pound, after Li Po. While my hair was still cut straight across my forehead, I played about the front gate pulling flowers. You came by on bamboo stilts playing horse. You walked about my seat playing with blue plums. And we went on living in the village of Chokan, two small people without dislike or suspicion. At 14, I married my Lord Yu. I never laughed, being bashful. Lowering my head, I looked at the wall. Called to 1,000 times, I never looked back. At 15, I stopped scowling. I desired my dust to be mingled with yours forever and forever and forever. Why should I climb the lookout? At 16, you departed. You went into far Kutoen by the river of swirling eddies, and you have been gone 5 months. The monkeys make sorrowful noise overhead. You dragged your feet when you went out. By the gate now the moss has grown, the different mosses, too deep to clear them away. The leaves fall early this autumn in wind. The paired butterflies are already yellow with August over the grass in the west garden. They hurt me. I grow older. If you are coming down through the narrows of the river Kiang, please let me know beforehand, and I will come out to meet you as far as Chofusa.
Chloe Ryman. And now, once again, we'll hear from the Sea Otter Quartet. This time they will perform for you Minuet and Trio by Schubert. the Sea Otter Quartet. One more round of applause for them, would you please? Thank you so much to Youth Music Monterey and Venetia Evans for bringing them here to us today. Thank you so much. You all are wonderful. All right. Well, our judges have finished scoring, and we've just about finished tabulating up there. First of all, can I get a nice round of applause for all of these wonderful students here? Mary Cho, Chloe Ryman, Arwa Awan, Lila Mahmood. About 3.5 years ago, I was leaving Spreckles, California. I had just finished teaching a poetry class at a charter school there. I got into my car like I do often. I got in and I drove off and I turned on the radio. NPR was on. I'm a regular fan. As I'm driving down Highway 68, a story came on NPR. That story was about Poetry Out Loud. It described the program in detail. It spoke to the coordinator at the time at the California Arts Council. It talked about the depth and the breadth of the program. Many of you may not know this, but last year, 40,000 California students participated in Poetry Out Loud, and 350,000 students participated nationwide. Our students were part of that group. I pulled over on the side of the road. I immediately pulled out my cell phone. I called the California Arts Council. I happened to get the man in charge of the program on the phone directly. I spoke to him. I was very excited. He told me what I needed to do. I hung up the phone. Then I called Paulette Lynch, the executive director of the Arts Council for Monterey. I happened to get her right on the phone, right at that instant. Those kinds of confluences tell me that there's something greater going on and that this is a program that was meant to happen here. I told Paulette about it. She instantly saw the value of it. She said, let's do it. From that moment on, we began the journey which brought us to this moment here today in Monterey, where we are about to crown the 2012 Monterey County Champion. And I can't be prouder of not only these students, but all of the students that have taken part in the program over the last 3.5 years. Robert Marchand, Kylie Batlin, Carolyn Silva. It's been a wonderful, wonderful ride, and they are all magnificent people for being a part of it. And you out there who support the program, the parents and the teachers, you all also deserve your very own round of applause. Please, let's give a round of applause to the teachers. Now, with that, I believe it is time to give out some prizes and determine who will go to Sacramento next month. Dana, would you please bring me our gifts? We have gifts for our runner-ups for taking part in the finals here and for bringing us their time and their talent and allowing us to experience them and enjoy their wonderful work. They will each be receiving a $25 gift certificate to iTunes. We know how much students love iTunes, so they'll be able to go and purchase that latest Adele album or whatever. First off, I'd like to say thank you and congratulations to Mary Cho. Mary Cho from Santa Catalina School. Here you are, Mary. Thank you very much. From Pacific Grove High School, I wanted to mention this because I remembered this. Lila Mahmood is not only a Poetry Out Loud student and competitor, but she is also a member of the 2012 Monterey County Mock Trial Champions, which happens to be also based at Pacific Grove High School, coached by none other than Professor Larry Hagquist. She's a marvelous student, and you've seen a little bit of her work today, and so we want to say thank you to Lila Mahmood, and here is a $25 gift certificate. Now comes the moment of truth. In any contest, there can be only one winner and perhaps a runner-up or two. But when it comes to Poetry Out Loud, that, for us, icing on the cake. The real winners are every student that went through the program and that went through the process and took on the challenge. What they have learned, the skills that they have improved upon and sharpened, are skills and things that they will be able to put to use for the rest of their natural-born lives. They will be able to use these skills in any number of places, public speaking, not the least of which, and they will be able to use these skills as they go on and become incredibly wonderful contributing members of our society and our community. And that is what Poetry Out Loud is really about, creating good people, good students, and good citizens. Our runner-up for 2012, Chloe Ryman. Thank you, Chloe. Chloe also receives a gift certificate. And that leaves us with our champion. May I have her gift as well? Our 2012 champion for Monterey County, who will go on to Sacramento in March to represent Monterey County against all of the other California counties, and hopefully, cross your fingers, will take the title 3 years in a row for California and send her to Washington, where, double cross your fingers, she may walk away with the first prize, $20,000 in cash prizes to be applied to her college education. Please give a warm reception and a big thank you to Miss Arwa Awan. Arwa receives as a gift from the Arts Council for Monterey County, received as a gift a token of our appreciation and a thank you for participating in the program and for doing us all proud, and not the least of which doing herself and her family proud, this lovely iPod. Thank you. There you go. Would you like to say anything, Arwa?
I would definitely like to thank Mr. Hackquist, my English teacher, with whom I spend hours practicing on my poems. And I would like to thank my family, with whom I also practice day and night. And thank you all for being here. Thank you.
As your host and MC, I want to say thank you very much, Garland Thompson, as your coordinator, your Poetry Out Loud coordinator, as a champion of the arts. I believe I can call myself that, because I do indeed champion the arts. The arts are incredibly important. They are not a luxury. They are a necessity. Please carry that message forward with you as you move about your daily business and remember these wonderful students we have here. And with that, I'd like to ask, if it's at all possible, that the Sea Otter Quartet take us out.